Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 267.
267.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. MEI and Mouse Fan Travel specialize in Disney travel especially. I mean, they do travel all over the world. Today we're going to be talking about Walt Disney World, Disneyland, a little about Disneyland Paris. So with this summer featuring Toy Story Land, Incredible Summer, Pixar Fest, and Pixar Pier at Disneyland, and so much more. This is a time to head to their website and check out all that's going on and ask for a quote.
Sounds good to me. We're going to start off this week at one of our favorite places, Epcot, and we're showing you this really cool monorail view. And I was thinking about this because our friend who had never been to Epcot before, big Disney fan from Disneyland Paris area actually, he decided to actually not go into the park, but go around and take the monorail. So his first views from his own eyes were from this way. So I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Well, especially during the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. I mean, I don't think there's any more beautiful way to come into Epcot than to take the monorail from the Ticket and Transportation Center.
So he had taken an Uber. He was staying off-site, and he just had the Uber drop him off at the Ticket and Transportation Center. So I thought that was a pretty good option for the first time.
And as you can see, if you have a chance to do this during the festival, I mean, it's always a nice way to come in, but especially where you can see all the flowers and the topiaries from a different angle. I'd like to try to do it at least once or twice during each Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. Food and Wine Festival, not necessary because nothing's going on generally, not too much.
Just a few topiaries, a few little ones.
A little going on.
So anyway, we are here at Epcot, and we're so glad to see it one last time. We're going to be leaving to go on a big trip soon, so anytime we can see the festival is good. But you discovered this.
Yes, well, we were on the land boat ride with Max, and I was like, well, I'm going to just go check out their dessert case just to see what they have. And there was a Belle's dress cupcake.
Now, how awesome is that?
And I looked online and I'm like, nobody's even talked about this yet. So I asked them, and it was like a few days earlier that it had come out. So I figured we actually don't buy very many cupcakes at Walt Disney World. As often as I talk about them, I almost never buy them.
And I have to say, you did a fine job of recording this with your phone. I was off with Max showing him around Epcot. So you ran off. You weren't sure about getting the cupcake because we had just eaten a big lunch.
Right. So I did it much later in the day. It has a ton of frosting. It like crushes. Can you see the bottom of it looks a little crushed there. But it's sort of like a black cherry with chocolate cake and then all that lemon frosting.
Kind of like a German Black Forest cake.
That's exactly how I thought of it.
And there it is.
Yep. And the lemon, I wasn't sure the lemon would work with it, but it actually did. It was one of the better Disney cupcakes I've actually ever had.
It worked. You know, I thought the same thing. I figured lemon Black Forest cake, not a good match, but it was excellent. And we had our friend Max try it also, and he liked it. So that's 3 thumbs up.
Well, it was nice that we got to share among 3 people because it's really a big cupcake. And there's the top, which is it's like a fondant. Is that how you say it? I don't make.
Not a lot of taste to the body of the dress there.
No, but it had a lot of lemon on it from the frosting, so it actually had kind of a lemony flavor.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you did it. It was very good. And as we mentioned, our friend had come over, and there he is. There's me and our friend Max. He goes by Fan Max. You can check out his website.
DLP Welcome.
That's right. And he was the first person we ever met at Disneyland Paris.
Yes, I mean, let's see, that was 2014. So
2014.
For almost 4 years, we've been friends with him, and his English is excellent now.
So yeah.
My French has not gotten that much better, so it's nice to be able to converse with him even more than we were able to.
Well, we're especially thankful to him because last year he invited us to his house, and his mother cooked us this fantastic, authentic French meal, and it was so good. So thanks very much. And I had the pleasure of watching him watch Illuminations for the first time. And it's even better watching it with somebody who is just, you could just tell he had this huge smile and he was enjoying it so much, and afterwards asking all kind of questions. So it was great to see him enjoy it. And we took him to the France movie, which because he was laughing. He was laughing out loud throughout the France movie because it was all done before he was born.
Well, you know what? The France movie is probably my favorite attraction at Epcot, but it's interesting to him. It's like vintage. It's something, you know, it's like 80s, and to me it looks so classic, like this is the way it's supposed to be, but I guess it isn't totally, you know. It's a lot of stores and outfits and such that he doesn't really know much about, probably.
Well, the scene of people parking their cars under the Eiffel Tower, he audibly gasped, and he said he had never seen that in his life. You know, again, this was 38 years ago.
Oh, that people were able to park under the...
Part of the film, you know, you just drove up and park under the tower. And as we know, that is not something that happens now.
I have never noticed that, but that was very interesting. But now we're heading over to Disney's Hollywood Studios because we need more dessert.
Well, actually, we had not planned on getting any kind of dessert, but we were looking in the trolley car cafe, and we noticed one of our favorite dessert items had changed drastically.
And this was actually maybe a couple of weeks ago. This wasn't like the same day as the Belle Cupcake.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is a true story.
But look how big. Have you ever had the carrot cake cookie? Because this is something that we have had at Disney's Hollywood Studios for at least like 8 years. This is really our favorite item on property if we're going to get a sweet treat. And the cake part is now like double the size that it used to be, at least.
I will say it tastes exactly the same.
It does. It is much bigger, though, so we split it into 4 pieces, and like a couple of the pieces went into the refrigerator. But I also want to mention you can get your Starbucks rewards points when you buy that carrot cake cookie. You can't redeem rewards at that location. You can at Disney Springs, but you can at least get your points.
So now we're going into Real Vogue here, and it used to be a different themed. It's been many themed stores, but now it is all Pixar.
So a little while ago it was Villains in Vogue, and then Sweet Spells closed last month, and I think that's going to continue being. I think that's going to be part of the Pixar store as well. But last month, about 1 month ago from the time we're recording this, they started adding the Pixar merchandise here. And like I mentioned, they had villain stuff really for quite some time. But the merchandise has changed through the years. Now it sort of reminds me of Nick Snacks at Disney California Adventure, where it is a dedicated Pixar store. Right now, that's all it is selling Pixar merchandise and then like snacks, you know, so like a lollipop or something you can get, or
a little bit of Pixar Fest here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, but you know, it really will be a big Pixar influence coming soon when Toy Story Land opens.
Right, and you can see here, if we had shown, we do have a video up of Nick Snacks. I mentioned it's a dedicated shop just like that, and some of the items are branded for, as soon as I saw them at Nick Snacks at Disney California Adventure, branded Disneyland Resort, I was like, okay, we're going to see these at Walt Disney World, and all of a sudden they were here.
Well, I didn't see any tails. The tails here are only at Walt Disney World, as far as I remember.
You know what? I've seen people wear tails at Disneyland, so I don't know. I didn't see them at the Nick Snack store.
Okay.
So
I know I'm not going crazy.
But anyway, you can see, like, I actually like the Wall-E shirt.
Or that sweatshirt.
Yes, and we saw that in California first, and I actually would wear that.
It's nice to actually see Wall-E merchandise. It's been a long time since I have seen it before the whole Pixar Fest thing.
Certainly to the extent that we're seeing it now, and we're heading into the Up merchandise. We're also going to see a shirt that I saw first on a mannequin at Disney California Adventure.
Your favorite.
You know what? It's a shirt, and we're looking at Up merchandise that I would normally think about buying, and I did until I saw the mannequin and the location of this grape soda cap. It was like
very authentic looking patch there.
Yes, well, I think they just need to move it up a little bit. Anyway, there's also Cars merchandise and all kinds of different items here. So if you're looking for any sort of Pixar merchandise, you can find it. Well, you can find it all over Walt Disney World, but especially here.
So let's talk about Toy Story Land.
So the 11-acre land will open on June 30th, and right here we're seeing they're going to have the Green Army Men having potential recruits, and they're going to do, it sounds like a show almost. And here is the Alien Swirling Saucers. This was the first photo of them being in placement that we have seen, and that looks really fun, like Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
I cannot wait to ride that, and I like that it has a roof. So in a day like today, all week actually, we're going to be getting heavy rain here in Florida. You can still ride Alien Swirling Saucers.
That will not be the case, though, probably with Slinky Dog Dash on a day like today. We are getting a lot. I guess we have a tropical disturbance right now, but we're looking at Slinky Dog and Disney released this as a little B-roll to show what it looks like.
Yeah, the first POV footage that we've seen, it looks like so much fun. I cannot wait to ride Slinky Dog Dash.
I think it will. You know what? I am actually really looking forward to Toy Story Land. We have Disneyland and Disneyland Paris and then Disneyland coming up. So, and there's Wheezy. So that will be interesting. I think he's supposed to be kind of like the, what is the Mr. Potato Head type.
Well,
character.
At the end, like you encounter him at the end of the ride. But now let's go over to Disney California Adventure. Even though it's Pixar Fest, we're going to talk about something else, though. Something that's closing very, very soon. It is the world famous Cove Bar, and we did check it out.
I have not been to the Cove Bar. I don't think you have either. Cove Bar right now is geared towards, you can see like Paradise Pier, and everything is very pier related. You see minors will not be served. This is going to become the Lamplight Lounge. So in a sense it's closing, but at the same time it's really just being rethemed, and that will open with Pixar Pier coming up, and I think that's June 23rd is Pixar Pier opening day.
Well, this was really our last opportunity to experience it in its original manner, so I'm so glad we did. And of course, one of the main reasons for me was the lobster and nachos, and we'll get into those very soon.
And the lobster nachos will be back with the Lamplight Lounge. I'm not sure how much of the menu will be with it. They have a small food menu and then a lot of drinks.
I like that you were able to see a nice little retrospective of the original area, the original Paradise Pier.
Well, I don't even know if it's original because I think Mickey was on the wheel where it used to be the sun.
That's right. The sun was the original.
The Mickey wasn't even original. And here is the menu. Jeff ended up with the lobster nachos and I ended up with the sliders. And this is a blood orange margarita. Anytime there's something blood orange, that's what I get. I didn't get anything that was too fancy, just something pretty straightforward.
Well, I had the Anaheim Heffenweisen because we were in Anaheim. We'll talk about that after we talk about this, though. Here is that world-famous lobster nachos. And I was not planning to finish that, by the way, but somehow that happened. It really was excellent.
And I don't eat them. So the lobster nachos have house-made tortilla chips, including black beans and aged cheddar, and then other items as well. And then I got the tri-tip sliders, which you can see on the other side. And really, even though they call it an appetizer menu, this is good to me for a meal. It's a whole meal.
It was excellent. I mean, everything we had there. Now I know why there are lines every single day. We had a very long line just to get in. It was about 40 minutes that we just waited in a line. There's no beepers or anything. You just line up and they let you in as the seats become available.
But from what I understand, we've got the ice cream booth now with the lines, and
well,
less so the Cove Bar, and then more the yellow ice cream over at the adorable snowman treat. So,
well, that's something else for us to check out whenever we get back to Disneyland.
Which is hopefully next month.
Hopefully.
Yes, we are booked for Disneyland after Disneyland Paris and my Washington, D.C. trip. I
have a little souvenir, Cove Bar. They had a little coaster here, and here is a look at the new Lamplight.
Right, the Lamplight Lounge. I looked it up, and I didn't see too much information yet on it. But it will be Pixar themed, just as all of Pixar Pier will be.
With the brick wall and all that, yeah.
It should look really nice. It doesn't matter to me what it's themed at. I'm actually looking forward to Pixar Pier, a little something different.
So now we're heading back to Walt Disney World, to the Magic Kingdom, and we're going to talk about the Maleficent dragon in the Festival of Fantasy Parade. And I'm sure everybody watching this probably knows that she had a little trouble this past week.
So she is the icon of the parade, and her head went on fire, and now she is out indefinitely. Probably, I don't know for how long. I don't know if we'll see her breathing fire again. I don't think Disney's really said anything about it yet.
The good news is nobody was hurt. They quickly put out the fire, and it was minimally impacted to that day, so that part is very good. And we're looking at video from the very first performance of the Festival of Fantasy Parade, and this was the first time that Maleficent ever did the fire breathing right in front of us. And I agree with what you said before. It really is the highlight of the whole parade. It's probably one of the best floats ever made. It is just spectacular in person. So we're going to celebrate that today and look at some highlights of her fire breathing.
Well, Maleficent is 35 feet long and 26 feet tall. And the first time we saw her, I mean, it was just incredible to see her in person. We also will be showing just probably a few seconds of the Disneyland Paris version as well. They're both steampunk dragons. They don't look exactly alike, but they look similar. So I don't know if they have like another head in the back. Like, I don't know how long it will take Disney to be able to put her back together, essentially.
Right now they are using one of the floats that we've seen in the Happy Easter parade, and also it is in the Boo-to-You parade.
And actually Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade with Snow White. But in this case, it's with Sleeping Beauty, or not Sleeping Beauty.
Aurora.
Yes, Princess Aurora. Yes, Sleeping Beauty. And Prince Philip.
So now we're looking at the Disneyland Paris version, and this was the very first time she ever did the fire breathing out there. We were very lucky to be there that day.
Right. I mean, we've done a lot of firsts and last at Disneyland Paris. We've been really fortunate about that. But this dragon is more copper, a little less purple, still very steampunk. It's said to be more Jules Verne-ish. Because if you go to their Tomorrowland, it's very Jules Verne. And so that's what they were aiming for with this dragon. And here we can see the fire coming out.
And this is Disney Stars on Parade. And when it first opened, it did not work. It did not breathe fire at all. And it took about a week, maybe longer, for it to actually breathe fire. And we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. And I also have been told that the fire breathing system there is completely different than the one we have here at Walt Disney World. So for safety precautions, they are not having the fire go off until they do a full test.
And the first day was very interesting. And if you look at our Stars on Parade video from opening day, it sort of looked like a stove, a gas stove. No fire.
It attempted to do the fire, but I guess they weren't quite ready because, you know, this was for the 25th anniversary, and you can't put off the 25th anniversary. You go with what you have.
And I think they're still playing the parade, even though so much is going on this summer. We're still going to be able to see Maleficent at Disneyland Paris in a little over a week.
I cannot wait. So now we're going to talk about something also that's very, very new, the DisneyStyle store here at Disney Springs.
Well, the DisneyStyle store grand opened on May 12th. We were there a couple days before it opened officially. It soft opened for a number of days before that. The DisneyStyle store reminds me sort of like Etsy merchandise, or, you know, they'll say it's curated merchandise. So we'll see this, probably everything around property is what I was told by a cast member. It's not like it's exclusive merchandise. That doesn't mean they won't ever have exclusive, but we'll see a lot of this merchandise around property.
And not just the merchandise, the store itself has all sorts of very interesting props, like this giant Dole Whip, and you saw a huge oversized Mickey bar before. And I have to admit, I do like some of the merchandise, especially this shirt,
which I did.
Yes, I purchased it. It has a very tiki look to it. It's not a Hawaiian shirt, but it's close enough. All this stuff, if they made Hawaiian shirts out of this material, I'll tell you right now, I would be buying every single one.
Well, it's probably good
that they don't. Yes.
But they have like Country Bear items and Orange Bird items.
Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad. There's actually a few Mr. Toad items here, and that was one of our favorite attractions as well. And that has not been here for 20 years. You can go to Disneyland and see Mr. Toad, though. And but Country Bear Jamboree is such a popular attraction for guests. But this is in the old Harley-Davidson shop as we're looking at merchandise. So it's on the west side. It's not far from where Disney Quest used to be.
Even before that, it was a Disney store. Not as fancy as this, but it was just a basic Disney type store. Mm-hmm. Oh, a giant churro.
And even though I mentioned that there'll be all this merchandise will probably be around property, a lot of it I had never seen before. Some of it I had, like this Dole Whip and Orange Bird hat, but I hadn't seen the Orange Bird shirt. So there's a variety of items that were very new and some that were not quite as new.
Yeah, this was new to me. Is the if you don't believe me, you're in denial. And this was a very nice photo op. The teacup.
Yes, this is a matte tea party teacup. I just want to say, like, somebody had sat in it for about 15 minutes while we were there. Just, she just needed to sit down. So if you see it open, grab it, because you never know, somebody could just sit there for, if they need to sit down for a little bit.
Why don't you tell your story about this Skyway bucket?
So doesn't it look like an igloo cooler? I'm just going to say.
It really does.
But
yes.
A cast member was telling a guest that it was the upcoming Skyliner. And so I had to kind of butt in on that. A lot of times I don't butt in, but in this case I was like, this is actually an old Skyway bucket. And the cast member didn't seem to believe me, but the guest did and came over to ask me a little bit about it. But anyway.
Well, you luckily pulled up that picture from D23 showing the original
yes.
and the new Skyliner.
Yes. And so the guest was just really curious about what it used to be and what's coming. And so the Skyliner will be enclosed. It'll be totally different than what we saw up there.
I just thought that was a fun story. And as you've been telling that, we're seeing more merchandise, some classic Mickey and Minnie stuff, Donald Duck stuff, and now more Toy Story. We're not going to show all the, not Toy Story, all the Pixar stuff because we already talked about that earlier. But almost everything that we saw in the Hollywood Studio store could be found here as well.
At least a number of items. And you have the waffle magnets, which have been very popular. I think you got one for your sister at one time.
Mickey Pretzel, over a giant Mickey Pretzel. And that castle picture is huge in person. It's a whole wall.
And I'm just going to mention, I mean, for Disney, this is someplace where you have a few walls to take pictures in front of, because Disney, somehow walls have become really popular at Disney.
We should get in the wall business.
No, I don't need to be. I'm okay. So I really like this area where they have so many different t-shirts, because I actually like t-shirts. I don't buy a ton of them anymore because I don't wear them a lot. But I like kind of seeing what's new.
Were you tempted for this Mr. Toad shirt?
I really like it. But it reminds me of what we don't have anymore, and I'm not sure if it was still here, sure, but I don't know. 2 tracks. Why don't we still have 2 tracks of Mr. Toad?
Too sad. Or I speak Phoenician, perhaps. That they still have, so you can certainly wear that one.
And it's purple, and I like purple, and there's a great big beautiful tomorrow. So there's a number of shirts that we're showing here that I had not yet seen. Again, the Mr. Toad one I hadn't seen yet. We do ride that out in Disneyland. They don't have 2 tracks. They just have 1 track. We can see Rapunzel's lanterns here. We're not going to look in that section as much. A lot of it is merchandise that we can find around property and have for quite some time. But we're looking just to show that they have the ear hats. They have so many of these ear bands now. Just so many. Like, remember when I mentioned Etsy and the different stores online? Disney's really kind of, I think, trying to, I don't want to say compete, but I mean, if something
obviously
works,
that is a style that's very popular.
It's very popular, and obviously Disney wants to be part of it, and they really have taken it and run with it in a way they haven't with merchandise as much in the past.
I have never seen you wear one of those. I think we need to change that.
I used to, when I was a kid, I had just
I don't mean as a kid.
As a kid, I had standard Mickey ears.
No, we need to get you one of those things.
We'll see. Like if I see something like that I like. And here there's a bunch of different patches, and I think those said Hot Topic on them. I think they were Hot Topic branded. But then you can see them on this jacket.
And pins, too. Lots of pins on the jacket.
I mean, this store is going to be very popular. It should be very popular because there's a lot of really fun items here.
Even the changing room has a lot of style. Nice Mary Blair-influenced art.
Everybody's going to be taking their pictures, their selfies at the dressing room. But I like the artwork here. And then inside the changing rooms, it looks more like Spaceship Earth.
Which I love. I love that. It's again, this whole store has so much imagination, regardless of the merchandise. It's just fun to look at all the props and just the decorations.
I think, I had really wanted to come here as soon as I saw it because I thought it looked really interesting. I don't think I had seen the interior of the dressing rooms online before we had seen it. So, it's a lot of fun.
And even the lights are shaped like the Spaceship Earth type design. So I really liked it. A very nice store, and I'm sure they'll be having lots of merchandise changing over in the next coming weeks.
Right, and Starbucks is across the way, so you can use your carrot cake cookie points to go maybe you can get a free item, and you can use those over at Starbucks. I always like to mention that. Anyway, thanks to MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. That's another show.
That is another show. And Boy, you've got me all confused because we did this backwards.
Oh, it's okay.
That's
but
all right.
Check out MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. They have a newsletter that you can sign up for. I know we bounced around a lot today on different topics, a lot of Walt Disney World, but in the coming, really in the coming 6 weeks or so, we're going to be spending a few weeks in Europe, mostly Disneyland Paris. We aren't gone yet. We're going to still have another show
Still
next
have another
week.
show.
And then I have DC for a few days. And then right now we're booked for Disneyland again to see Pixar Pier. But we still want to try to make sure to get a little Walt Disney World in during that time too.
That'll be my job. But also let's not forget the big thing, Fan Days for the character fans like us out there. I cannot wait. I'm very excited for Fan Days, June 2nd.
And their Marvel Summer of Marvel Summer of Superheroes, which will have, I guess, in the interior show. The inside show sounds really good with the drones and everything.
And we'll be going to the very, very first Marvel character dinner for that. And we'll be meeting Spider-Man in his Avengers,
costume.
his shiny Avengers outfit. So that'll be very exciting.
There's so much that we're planning on. So it's just a crazy amount of stuff. But next week we'll be probably mostly talking about Walt Disney World.
And Voodoo Donuts, maybe.
And Voodoo Donuts. We should talk about that. We finally made it over to Voodoo Donuts at Universal City Walk, and that was actually very good.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.